let's go ahead and start up our spider. So gamut, 100% of sRGB, 95% of the P3. This is what I'm excited to see. Wow, 484 nits of brightness. That is a fantastic showing here. Welcome everyone, this is John the Net Guy. We're testing out the G2421 Quad HD 180 Hertz IPS monitor, but that's not all. I just finished the calibration testing. Comes in with a delta E of less than 1 from the factory, no calibration set at all. It also has a brightness of 484 nits of brightness at 100%. and a contrast ratio almost 1200 to 1. Now these are tested numbers, these aren't even the box numbers that are a little bit more conservative. So Koorui has done a great job on this panel. Now they spent it all on the panel itself because the stand leaves a lot to be desired. There's not much here. But the great news, it has a 75mm by 75mm VESA pattern. If you want to mount it to a monitor arm or a gas strut, it's also incredibly light. And for a 24-inch class where you used to have to sit with 1080p or slower refresh rate monitors, this one gives you everything you could want at high refresh rate, high nits of brightness, great contrast for an IPS, and great color accuracy. So you can't beat that. I'm going to take this to our PDX LAN gaming event. It's a 900-person gaming event down in the Portland, Vancouver area, and we're going to see how this monitor does in an actual gaming scenario. And my buddy's going to test it out all weekend, and we're going to find out if this is something that you should buy. Stick around. So I have the Datacolor Spider Pro. This is the newest model here, and it's going to allow us to test this monitor and see how it does. But first things first, let's do an unbox and see what you get inside of it. All of the accessories and the stand are upside down on the top here, which I like. This is pretty straightforward. Stand is plastic, but looks fairly large and has rubberized feet. This style of stand is pretty easy to mount. You just put it in there. It's going to have a small amount of tilt, and it looks like it's a snap-in base. So you push down. See what it comes with: a US power cord here for the US market, a manual, which hopefully we don't need. As far as connectivity, this has dual HDMI and one DisplayPort, which I think is a perfect sweet spot if you're a console gamer, but you also have a PC and you want to connect multiple devices. So you can have up to 3 inputs on this. You're getting larger size monitor features for this Quad HD panel. So that's 2560 by 1440. Also known as 2K resolution. So it's going to come with, it looks like, a DisplayPort cable. So that's going to be a little interesting choice. So this is the panel right here. One thing I like to do, they include the instructions in the monitor. So it does have an audio output here. I don't know about speakers yet until we get it started up, but it has an audio output for your headphones, which actually works out really well. I like it when they include that. So the HDMI is a single cable hookup to your PC, and then the audio will come in from your monitor to your headphones. So in this network gaming event, there are no speakers. You're not supposed to have your speakers or music or other stuff playing. Everybody's wearing headphones, so that's going to make the hookup much easier. Let's hook this together. We're going to slide this up from the bottom. And then I always use that to pull the monitor out of the box. Just saves me getting fingerprints on it or potentially damaging it. So there is the monitor itself. You can see it's got a little bit of a tilt adjustment. No side-to-side tilt. The stand, a little bit tippy here, but you're dealing with a 24-inch monitor, and apparently they put all the money in the panel. So we're going to try this out. I'm going to go ahead and plug it into power. For those interested, the power supply is a standard 19 volt, 2.58 amps or 49 watts. So this is using a little bit more power. One thing I like right away is it's got joystick control. I'm gonna go ahead and grab an HDMI cable and we'll plug it in and start our test. Plugging it into HDMI 1 We'll see if it automatically finds this when I start up. There we go. Doing display cloning here so I can see that the display works, and it is automatically quite bright. It does let me now access the menu controls. Brightness comes out of the factory. 50 it looks, or 70, I'm bringing it down to 50. And because of the cameras and the lighting in the studio being so bright, I can turn it all the way down here to basically 0, and now you guys can see what's on the screen. It has contrast and dynamic contrast adjustments as well. Let's go ahead and we're going to fire up a YouTube video. Okay, now I am getting some sound going out to it, but there is no sound coming from it. It looks like it does have sound capability with the HDMI, but it does not have speakers built into it. We're going to test the color out here. Decent. I like the color so far, you know, depending on the angle that you're looking at. And for you guys, it may look a little bit washed out because all the studio lights here. Fairly crisp. I haven't seen any dead pixels, but not bad. Looks very good so far. Let's go ahead and start up our Spider Elite software, and I'm going to go ahead and plug in. So we're going to do a quick display analysis here. You're going to see the results as we go. We're going to do gamut, tone response, brightness and contrast, and color accuracy. And we're going to do this on our second monitor, and we're going to begin tests. Okay, so I'm going to put the colorimeter here on the screen, and then I'm going to tell it to start testing. And what it's doing by going through these different colors, these are known colors that it's asking the monitor to emit. Monitors at default settings, I did not change any of those. And it's going to go ahead and find the standard color profile here. And it's going to measure the gamma curve now. So this is how grays and how uniform monitors are for gray. If you have a wrong gamma curve, what you're going to notice is you're going to see either too sharp of contrast or too low of contrast. Something's going to look like it's got a lot of gray in it when it's supposed to be black. Doing the next test here. Now this is a brightness contrast test. We're going to find out how strong the brightness is on the monitor. We're going to start it all the way down at 0, and then I've got to get out of the menu. That's one of the things I've learned. We're going to do measure. Okay, we're going to set the brightness to 25%, so I'm going to go quickly to 25%. Then I'm going to exit out of the menu here. Contrast is at 50, and we're going to tell it to measure again. And then our final report is going to tell us, going to increase it to 75% now, and then we're going to set it to the maximum brightness. Now, we won't have as much contrast in this mode, but it is going to be very bright, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, now we're going to test the color accuracy. I like to do it in the 48 panel test. This takes a little bit longer, but it is going to really exercise the monitor, and I'm going to set it down to 50% brightness because sometimes when the brightness is being overdriven, it can actually affect this test. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to do all 48 different colors here. It's going to go through. And we're going to find out how accurate this monitor is. It claims a DCI P3 of 90%, and that means an sRGB of 100% almost always. And we're going to see if it does the Adobe scale as well. It's going through all of those different ones right now, and this meter is measuring its accuracy against the known color, what it should be. Got it right up against the monitor. Okay. And it's going to ask us to save our analysis, and we're going to say this is the G2421. Now I'm actually going to bring this over here so you guys can see it as well. So gamut, 100% of sRGB, 95% of the P3, and 91% of Adobe RGB. That is fantastic. One of the best results I've seen yet here. Of NTSC, let's see if it can give us that, 88% of NTSC. So that's a really, really good result here. We're going to see how accurate this is, so let's go over to tone response. Right now, gamma 1.8 and gamma 2.2, we're measuring at the gamma 2.2 level. Okay, and then there's our gray ramp, so all of the difference. And then brightness and contrast, this is what I'm excited to see. Wow, 484 nits of brightness. That is a fantastic showing here. 484.1 in fact, and a contrast ratio of almost 1200 to 1 at the 50% mark. So fantastic showing here for what is a affordable monitor. This is the important thing. You can have a wide color gamut, but how accurate is that color, especially if it's really a bright monitor? And this has got a delta E out of the box of less than 1. That is a fantastic showing for color accuracy on this monitor. So for a budget panel, for a gaming panel, a fast IPS we call these, all around, and a wonderful showing. So the Koorui company, you've outdone yourselves. Wonderful, wonderful results here. So you can see I didn't test some of these, so it's not giving us that. The white point we didn't really set on this one, but overall, almost the best you can get on these tests. 4.5 and 5 rating in most of the tests here. So.